Good afternoon. Welcome to Derry Presbyterian Church, and we're glad that you came out to our dual piano concert. I'm Dick Hann. I'm chair of the Derry Piano Committee, and other members of the committee are Bruce McKinney and Janice Hole-Click, Mary Lemons, Dan Dorty, let's see if I can remember, and Greg Taylor, and Randy Ayers and myself are on the piano committee. And I'd like to just explain about how we got here, how we got to this point. And I'd just like to point out the piano here. This is a Yamaha piano. It's a good piano, but as I've been on the music committee, and I may repeat some of these things some of you folks heard earlier today, but I'm on the music committee for many, many years. And there was times that people indicated that we needed to maybe look at another replacement piano. Although this is an excellent piano, it was donated to Derry Presbyterian Church by Margaret Bachman, which I know many of you know, in 2006. It's 32 years old, and it was in a home right across the street. So it's basically was for a home rather than for a large venue such as the sanctuary here. So we decided to get a committee together. I was asked to be chair of the committee to look at a possible replacement for this piano. And the idea is if we accept the new piano, another piano, that this piano would go over to the chapel and it would be a beautiful piano for that venue because it's a smaller area. So that's this Yamaha piano, and it's been played by many, many people over the years, and they've enjoyed playing it. But some of the choir members, and particularly some past directors of music, have indicated it just doesn't have enough. It's undersized for this venue, and so they have asked that maybe we look at something else. So this is what we did. So the committee then sat down and decided what are some of the criteria that we want in getting another piano. And one of the criteria was, of course, looking at maybe Yamaha or Steinway or whatever. These are two good names in pianos. And we decided we'd go with the Steinway. And then the second thought is, well, do we go with a bigger piano or same size? Well, obviously, we wanted to go with a bigger piano in this in this venue. And then we discussed, well, what do we want to go with, a new piano, or do we want to go with a used? And originally, it was thought we should go with a new piano, because we're never sure what you can get in a used piano. But we didn't want to say, well, we don't want to go with a used piano completely, but we'll take a look at it. So on November 11th, there were 5 members of our committee went to Philadelphia to the Jacobs Music Store to look at the pianos and play the pianos that were there. We asked Shelly Moorman-Stahlman, who is not a member of our committee, if she would be willing to go in and help evaluate these pianos for us. And she was very willing. She even, I think you even took a day off from work to go there at that particular time. And then we got a bonus. And I know I'm going to mess up her name, but Ruth Solenska, it was a bonus because she asked if she could go along. And here we had an international pianist that offered her time to look at the pianos at Jacobs. And when we went there, I had no idea. I'm not a piano person, so I didn't know much about pianos. I learned a lot more since, but I didn't know much about it. And I didn't know what to expect in Philadelphia. We went into the store, and it was a very narrow store. And here were these pianos lined up, 5 different pianos, all used pianos. So at least 2 of I know Mary Lemons and Dan Dorty and Shelly and Ruth played these pianos. And they kept bouncing around. They went to this piano, they went to that piano. They just were having a grand time. But they all came back to this piano. They thought, this is the piano that we should recommend to Derry Presbyterian Church. And this is a 2019, and it is slightly used. and maybe somebody else, maybe Dan can give a little more of the background, but being slightly used, and it was, if I recall, it was a international pianist selected this piano at the Steinway factory to be used in her concert. And realize this was 2019. Now you had the pandemic in between. So this piano was not overly used, it was not abused, and we also had another international pianist that used it as a recording for a CD recording. So that became very important to us to know that this piano was not abused. It's only 2019. And it's probably as close to a new piano that we could get as a used piano. So that's why we recommended that we have this piano at Derry Presbyterian Church. And the Jacobs Music Company was very helpful in saying, okay, we'll have you have the piano here at Derry for your folks to take a look at. And it's just like buying a car. You go to a car, you're going to see it. And if you're buying a piano, if we would have said, well, we're going to buy a piano and just bring it here, but we wanted to show it to you that this is a piano that we are recommending. Now, it's going to be up to our session and so forth to approve, and our fundraising to approve this particular piano. So that's a little bit, and we'll tell a little bit about it later, that we're going to have this as a memorial piano as well. So that's enough of the background. And so at this time, we're going to turn it over to Dan Dorty, our music director, and Dan's just been here since September last year. Came in September, so he's really getting involved. We really got him involved quickly in this. So he's going to take care of the rest of the program at this point. Dan?
Good afternoon and welcome to Derry Church. It's a pleasure to be here before you this afternoon. I had never dreamed that we'd have a 9-foot Steinway concert grand, especially of this quality on this stage. When Stephen and I spoke over lunch about coming to Derry, he asked how I felt about the instruments, and I said, your pipe organ is magnificent. To have an Aeolian Skinner under your fingertips is a dream come true. And I said, the piano, it's very nice, but you have to beat the heck out of it to carry a hymn in the room. And if you think about it, there's a lot of airspace in this room. You have rafters to overcome that cut sound. At each rafter you go back, you have a ceiling that's over 35 feet tall and a room that seats over 400 people. And a 6'7" Yamaha just isn't going to carry. And so that piano has been played very heavily. The hammers due to that have become hard and bright. And actually before Christmas at Derry, I had to have them voice the piano down so that it was pleasing to the ear to listen to. And so we had our tuner come and do that for us. This piano is an extraordinary instrument. I can't even express that enough to you, and everybody else on the committee would agree. I don't think we dreamed of finding an instrument like this. They don't come on the market often. 9-foot Steinways are used and abused. They are used heavily, and the best pianists who have gorilla hands play them, and they beat the heck out of them. And rightly so, because they have to carry the piano over a symphony orchestra. This piano was not only signed but used in concert by Yuja Wang, who's an international concert pianist, one of the best in the world. She's incredible. And Emmanuel Axe, who is the accompanist for Yo-Yo Ma. They love this piano so much. You're welcome to come up after the concert and look. They have signed the instrument. And that really wasn't the reason why we chose this piano. That was not the sole reason. The sole reason was its musicality, its powerful bass, the treble that sings. When you listen, you can hear the mid-range. The whole piano is clear. Never once will the piano become muddy. No matter how much sustain pedal you use, this piano will sing, and it will be crystal clear. Not only that, it fills the space beautifully. If you were in worship this morning, it was so easy to lead hymns. We didn't have to pound. We could just play. We loved it. And the dynamic range of this piano is unimaginable. When you hold a chord and you sustain, it rings for almost an eternity. In fact, you have to use less pedal because the piano is so resonant. It's a wonderful instrument, and it's an opportunity that does not present itself very often. And so this afternoon, I'd like you not to worry about the pianists who are playing. Don't compare us. Compare the pianos. Listen to the music. Can you hear the difference in the quality of sound? What's more solid? What rings? What sings? What has presence? What's moving to you? And so that we will do. Let's see, is there anything else I wanted to share? We don't have a printed program. This is not a formal, stuffy recital. This is a chance to hear the pianos, to sing a hymn together, to worship. We're going to go from Mozart to Franz Liszt to some gospel. So you're going to hear a little bit of everything, and to some Broadway, I think. Kirsten, you're doing a Broadway piece. And so we hope you enjoy. There will be a time for all the questions you can ever imagine afterwards, and please ask away. Don't leave this room wondering a single thing. And let's stand and sing together. Oh no, before we do that, Ed Kramer has graciously come here from Jacob's Music. Ed, would you mind saying a few words about this piano? And thank you for, yeah.
Not for long. Good afternoon. My name's Ed Kramer. I'm a representative for Steinway & Sons for 30 years. I've been pleased to be working with a company like Steinway for so many years. Jacob's Music Company is the renowned Steinway dealer in Philadelphia. I've been with Jacobs for 20 years. And I have to say that when I first started talking with Dan and the committee and then setting up the appointment at our location to look at the instruments, I was thrilled that this piano became available. And it had really, we had 5 other pianos there. I don't know if you knew this, but that we had 5 pianos ready to go. This one became available about a week before. And when I say available, this piano was selected at the Steinway factory in 2019, right at the factory in New York, and it was selected by Yuzha Wang, who was like they've mentioned, internationally world-renowned artist. She selected the piano for her performance up in Princeton, New Jersey. And then it was selected by Manuel Axe to be used with the Philadelphia Orchestra as a CNA piano, a concert and artist piano. So it's only been used, like we mentioned, in very specific concert positions. In fact, Steinway considers the piano a new piano, actually, even though it is, because it's never been sold to anyone. So it is, in fact, a 2019 that has been used by a few concert artists, but it is one of the most magnificent pianos that we've seen. Our concert and artist technician, Greg Sikora, who is world-renowned technician, also approved this piano and even talked a little bit about it when we were there because of its strength and its dynamics. The key to a piano is, as Dan was saying, is the ability to have it play soft, but really hear the overtones and the tonal quality of the sound. When you play a piano, if you can play it soft and you hear it clearly and you hear it make your heart feel that emotion, that's what makes a piano incredible. And this one can be played really softly and have a resonant sound and clarity on the very high notes as well as the low notes. And then with the power that it can bring, that dynamics is a dynamic range from soft to loud that gives you that emotion. I'll never forget the first time I even played a grand piano was in a church when I was 6 years old. That was over 60 years ago, but it was so exciting seeing a grand piano on a stage in the church. When I was here when the piano, we delivered the piano earlier this week for what we call a test drive. This is a test drive program for churches like this. In a situation like this, we have Steinway's participation for us to bring the piano, set it up, and there were a couple of the choir members that were here the day that I set it up, and I played a little bit for one of the ladies, and she says, "Oh my gosh, it makes me cry," and I think it was you. No, but it's just that kind of a piano, and it's really wonderful that we have the emotion today. You'll hear it some more beautifully, like we heard it this morning. So, any questions? I'll be here to answer any questions as well. And we're just really thrilled to have the opportunity to be here to help participate in this. It's exciting to me when we saw this sign in 1724, founded, that next year will be 300 years. So that is a pretty prestigious thing to be happening on the 300-year anniversary, as well as the dedication to the lady who was this piano. Someone else will talk more about that. And it's wonderful that the music part is so big and so important to Derry Presbyterian Church. So thank you for letting us be here with our piano, and thank you very much. We appreciate it. Thank you.
Just one more thing I forgot to mention. We wanted a piano that was going to last for the ages. As a legacy to this church, the generations to come, we have a growing music program, our choir is growing, and our handbells are growing. And so we're running out of chairs in the loft, and we're running out of places for bells. And that is a great problem to have. And that's just since September. And so we wanted a piano that would be for the future generations of this church, and not one that we buy and then we have to refurbish 10 years down the road and spend $35,000, $45,000, $55,000. So the great thing about this piano is we know its Carfax report, and we know how many miles are on it, and we know who touched it. We know who did the inner workings of the voicing and the tuning so that there wasn't somebody that could mess things up for down the road. We find out, oh, they probably shouldn't have had their hands on this instrument. It's pristine. And so with that, this piano is a legacy for our music program, and it's a mission, really. There are so many people who have said, oh my gosh, you're getting a Steinway? I said, well, we hopefully get a Steinway. And they said, well, if you do, we would love to come and perform at your church. We'd love to bring our concert series and share performance opportunities. And so this is a mission in and of itself in outreach to our church, not only for the adult choir and for the bells of the church, but for the children and the youth. We have a lot of young pianists here in our church. And you'll get to hear one who's, Natalie, we'll say you're young. We're young. We're young, Natalie. Yeah, we're young. So you'll get to hear us today. Let's stand and sing, When in Our Music God is Glorified. This is hymn number 641 in your Glory to God hymnal. And we'll sing all 5 verses.
Sorry, I'm Natalie Taylor. I'm going to play Sonatina by Kulau. And for those of you who knew my mom, and she was a really good piano player, I am not that good. So you're just gonna have to bear with me for this one. But yeah, I'm excited.
Thank you, Natalie. We appreciate that. And I'd just like to, at this point, at this time, that this particular piano, if we get, or a replacement piano, we will dedicate this piano to Leanne Taylor. Now, Leanne, some of you may know as Leanne Jacobs. I sometimes, because I've known her for so long, she's been probably a member of Derry for over 25, at least 25 years. And Leanne was very passionate. I'm going to read this. It was very passionate for music, which she expressed by playing the piano and handbells here at Derry and other churches. She was the piano accompanist for numerous choirs and soloists, which she excelled in by practicing many hours, and I imagine the family remembers practicing many hours. And that's why she was so dedicated to playing the piano. And she also worked as a teacher's aide, a substitute teacher and piano player for the music programs at Derry Discovery Schools here in Hershey. She was born in Hazleton to the late Bernard Jacobs and Mildred Jacobs, who still lives in Hazleton. Leanne received an associate degree from Central Penn College in 1987. She then worked at Penn National Insurance for 15 years, ultimately serving as an event planner. Following the birth of Natalie, she devoted much of her time in raising her family. And we miss Leanne very much. So this piano will be dedicated to Leanne Trailer. And we'll say more about this a little bit later on how we can support this piano for Leanne Taylor. Dan?
I'm Shelly Moorman-Stahlman, and I had the privilege of going with the group to Philadelphia to try out the pianos. And it was very exciting because I have been to New York City to the Steinway factory to help out Lebanon Valley College pick out some new pianos in the past. In fact, about 3 times. And this experience in Philadelphia was amazing because we were hearing and playing better pianos than we actually even had new in New York City. This one had been seasoned a bit because as a piano grows, it develops its own personality, and it had already began to see that personality by being just a few years old. And it really is such a wonderful instrument. And Derry has such a great tradition in this area for the music program. And so I'd like to dedicate this next piece, which is actually called Widmung by Schumann, and it's a vocal piece. And the piece really fits the piano because a piano can sing, and this piano does that singing. But it's also a dedication piece that Schumann did for his wife, and I'll dedicate that to your music program and to Leanne Taylor.
Hi, I'm Mary Lemons. Hi, Scott. I see a lot of my friends out there. Thank you for coming. I too knew Leanne, and I know her family, and she was really good. She was a very good pianist, and we do miss her. And I couldn't be more pleased to be playing today in her honor and memory. And I also would like to say it is my honor. I'm retired from Lebanon Valley College in the Department of Music. I was in music education, not piano, but I love to play. And I am honored to be able to serve this church in my retirement and play. And I keep working at it. And I couldn't be more excited to play this piano today for you. I'll do my very best. And Dan, why'd you have to put me right after Shelly? She was like, anyway. I'm using my music too. Oh, what am I playing? I'm playing a Chopin waltz, A minor.
as you see with Mary, we always have a good time. I'm playing two pieces for you. I was going to go back and forth, but I'm going to save a piece later to show you the contrast between the two. The first piece is by Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart, Vous dirai-je maman, which is Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. And the second is Clair de Lune by Claude Debussy. I too will use my music.
Many of you know that Ruth Slinchinska lives in my house, and she's been there since about August of 2020 during this pandemic. And she is currently retired, and so she's not doing a lot of playing. But when I told her that we were going to find a new piano, she had to go and try them out. And she definitely fell in love with this piano. Since about last Thursday, about 10 days now, she's been ill and had a little bit of a pneumonia, not being able to get out, a little bit of trouble breathing. And so I told her the piano was being delivered. And she said, "Oh, I want to go play it." And I said, "Well, calm, we'll get there, but we have to wait a little bit." So she definitely wanted to share something with you today. So I recorded her saying a few things. So I'll let Sue go ahead there.
Piano? Yes. That I want for everybody who contributed toward that piano to feel that it is an instrument for the purpose of bringing joy. That music can say things and do things that no other art can. That it is something that has no end in sight, that keeps growing as the person who produces it grows, and that it's forms a center of comradeship from other people. It will attract, like a magnet, people and give them friendship. It will yes, brighten their lives, because it includes song, and song is something that people do together, and what you do together grows, and it's all for the good.
So one of the glorious things about this instrument is it's, of course, going to be used wonderfully in worship by Dan and Mary and all of those that lead it each Sunday. But it'll also be used as part of your Arts Alive series and being able to attract musicians. And one of the most important things is to nourish the young people. I've had the great opportunity to bring young people from Lebanon Valley College here to perform with the Derry seniors upon several occasions. We're hoping that happens again in the future. And they always love coming here to play. And I'm sure, as Ruth was saying, that it will be like a magnet, and many people will want to come and share and enjoy and create fellowship. So I'd like to play a piece by Liszt. It's La Campanella, and it kind of utilizes some of those virtuosity techniques of the higher range of this piano, which is really quite brilliant of this range. bench with it.
This is Linda McKechnie's arrangement of Love That Will Not Let, Oh Love That Will Not Let Me Go, with Piano Concerto number 21 by Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart.
I'm Mary Stryker, and I'm going to play In the Garden. It's 2 in a row that are.
I welcome Kirsten Miller, who's a member of Derry, a new member of Derry, and a resident at Hershey Med Center. Pediatric oncology? No, internal medicine and pediatrics. Can't remember it all. This is Ferris Lord Jesus, arranged by Mark Hayes. I'd like to show you the difference between the two pianos. I'm going to do this beginning of this arrangement by Michael Faircloth, If It Is Well With My Soul, on the Yamaha, and then I'll try and restrain myself, and then I'll come over to the Steinway. So this is Michael Faircloth's It Is Well With My Soul.
Hi, like Dan said earlier, my name's Kirsten, and now I'll be playing an arrangement of Hello Young Lovers from The King and I. I picked this one because it's just a beautiful, simple arrangement of this show tune, and I hope just to show how the piano could sing.
Okay, Mary, our last piece for the program for this evening, and then we'll have a time of discussion. Joel Rainey's arrangement of This Little Light of Mine for two pianos. You get to play the Steinway. That's right.
We are surely blessed to have so many talented pianists in our congregation and in this area. And we appreciate all your participation. So this is a concert that we wanted to at least show you a piano that has been recommended by the piano committee. And officially, I guess officially today, we have to pay for it. So officially today, we really opened up the Leanne Taylor Memorial Piano Fund. And not only is this a legacy to Leanne, but to Greg and his family. And I'm going to break up here. And not only is it a legacy to them, it's a legacy to all of the congregation and those that will come after us. And I know we saw a lot of the children at 10:30 service this morning, and just thinking of those coming along. I know Natalie came up in the church and played the piano and so on, and so many other young people. So it's a legacy. It's an investment for the future of Derry Presbyterian Church. So the fund is officially open, and as I mentioned this morning, we had $50,000 towards it. We now have $60,000 towards the piano. And if you would like to donate, there's a way to do this. The session has approved us to have the fundraising, and if you would like to contribute to the Leanne Taylor Memorial Fund, you can do it through a pledge. And we would like to pledges at this particular time. You could pledge once, a one-time pledge for a year, or you can do it over several years, or even maybe 3 years if you care to. But we'd like to do it at pledges, and we'll keep you up to date as to how it's going. It is going to be up to us to make it happen. It's just not going to happen. It's going to be up to us to make it happen. And it is a legacy, and if you care to, and you can send or let Pastor Stephen, I think he's here, Pastor Stephen. Back there. You can let him know if you have a pledge. You can let me know, or you can contact the financial office and let them know, either by email or call, and Sandy will be gladly to keep track of the pledges toward this piano. So if it's going to happen, it's going to be up to us. And thank you for coming and appreciating what you heard today, these talented pianists. Thank you for coming. Oh, yes, yeah, oh. Yeah, are there any comments and questions at this particular point? Yes?
I think I speak for all of us. The music tonight was exceptional. I think all the pianists should sign the Steinway.
There's a mic. Is there anybody else have any? Any comments and so on? Again, we do appreciate your coming. I know it's an afternoon out, but it's an afternoon well spent and appreciated. I just I don't play the piano, but I appreciate the music. And being chair of the Arts Alive Committee, and I can't wait to see Thomas Pandolfi play this piano. He's he's scheduled to be here on our 300th anniversary in October of next year to play. So I'm really anxious to see him play that at that time. So if there are any questions, you can check with Pastor Steve or any member of the committee. And again, thank you for coming.